This is the Fearless Agent Podcast, where you learn how to make way more money fast selling real estate with your host, the Fearless Agent himself, Bob Loeffler.
And good day to you. This is Bob Loeffler here at the Fearless Agent Podcast for real estate sales professionals just like you, where we explain that everything you have been taught by the real estate industry is wrong, and you will make lots more money in way, way less time by doing the exact opposite. So today's topic is caring about the customer. We're carrying on from last week's topic. We had a guest with us last week who was talking about how he never had to, after he became a fearless agent, promise a bunch of marketing or any stuff like that. So we're going to be carrying on with that theme this week. So the question is, when it's all about the customer, the customer is, what's in it for me? So when you talk about, when you're on a listing presentation, let's say, by the way, I have fearless agent coaching students that are in every state now, and Canada, I think maybe every province in Canada, except the Arctic Circle. Is that in Canada? I think it is. But all of them are faced with competition. So you've got people that are, going on listing presentations, and they're not the only person that the customer is going to talk to. But some of them focus on buyers only. It's their preference that they don't do listings. Usually on the podcast, we're talking about listings. But if you want to do buyers only, I coach people who do buyers only, and that's fine. Or maybe you have a partner and the partner does buyers only. So, I'm happy to help your partner. But make it, in either case, you got to make it all about the customer. So we talked last week about how rapport building is death in sales. They scientifically proved in a research study that the more rapport building you do, the less likely you are to make the sale. Well, why is it that every other sales training program except Fearless Agent always talks about rapport building? Well, when you have no skills to teach, you're always going to talk about certain things, okay? When the coach has no skills in sales, they're always going to, when you can't sell, you're always going to talk about rapport building, which has nothing to do with sales. You're always going to talk about the DISC profile and personality types. You're always going to be talking about NLP and all kinds of stuff like that doesn't have anything to do with sales. So when you're highly skilled in sales, the thing you do is you make it all about the customer, and you're going to be asking questions and get right down to business right away when you meet with the customer. So the first thing we're going to do when we meet with a listing prospect, face-to-face, that is, and on the phone. When you're on the phone, you're going to ask them, where are you moving to, is going to be the first question you ask them. So let's say you're cold calling. Now, with for sale by owners and expireds, when you're a fearless agent, you don't ask them where you're moving to, because the where are you moving to question on a cold call is aimed at finding out their motivation. When somebody already has a sign in the yard that says for sale by owner, or they were recently expired, there's a pretty good chance that they are motivated. And it's a more complicated call, so we skip the where are you moving to thing. So let's say I'm on a cold call. I call up the seller. I say, I was just calling to see if you might be thinking of selling your house. And they say, as a matter of fact, we are. Now, I've made billions of cold calls. That's a rough estimate, by the way, googillions of cold calls in my career. And I can't tell you how many times I would call somebody up and I'd say, hi, this is Bob Loeffler. I'm a real estate agent, and I was with Century 21. And I was just calling to see if you might be thinking of selling your house. And they would say, literally, we were just sitting here talking about it when the phone rang. And I would say, do you believe that God has a master plan for your life? And they'd say, yes, I do. I go, well, who do you think told me to call? No, I didn't say that. That's ridiculous. But it was like a bizarre coincidence. But if you make enough cold calls, everything happens. So they'd say, yes, we are thinking of selling our house. Every other coach teaches you to say when is that going to happen? That's the last question you want to ask. The first question, if you care about people, if you care about making money, it's like, when can I make money off of you, right? So if I care about the people, I'm going to say, where are you moving to? And they're going to say, we're moving to wherever. Now, the other coaches always teach you to say, fantastic. Well, hey, it's not fantastic. Do you know why it's not fantastic? We're moving because we lost our job. There's nothing fantastic about moving. Any of you who have ever moved know there's nothing fantastic about moving. It's torture, okay? So we don't say fantastic. We say, I see. And when you move there, so where are you moving to could be 10 questions depending on their situation. So some people are selling a house they're not living in. Some people are selling a house they are living in. So some people aren't moving, but they are selling. Some people are selling, but they think they're not moving because they want to turn it into a rental, which would be a financially devastating mistake for most people in most situations. So where are you moving to? If they're living in it, they say where it is. We're moving to Irvine, California. Okay. Are you going to rent or are you going to buy? Oh, no, we're going to buy. Okay. Or that we're going to rent for a period of time and then buy. If they say we're going to rent, say, are you going to rent for the rest of your life or will you ever buy another home? No, we're going to rent for a period of time and then we're going to buy. Okay. So is it going to be a condo or is it going to be a house? I hope you're writing these down, by the way. It's going to be a house. Okay. Is it going to be bigger or is it going to be smaller than the one you're living in now? If they say it's going to be smaller, then you say, is it important to you that it is smaller, or would it be okay if it was a little bit bigger? If they say it's important to us that it's smaller, maybe that's evidence of a money issue, okay? If they say, then I say, is it going to be more expensive or is it going to be less expensive? If they say, well, it's going to be more expensive even though it's smaller because where we're moving to is more expensive area, ding, 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 I found the money problem. So when you are going to do business with a seller, you need sellers who have to sell, okay? So my goal for you, and I don't want to give you a goal, but let's say, are you earning less, selling real estate than you wish you were? If you are you scheduling less than 5 listing appointments a week? If you are, would you like to schedule 5 listing appointments a week? If that's great, have that as your goal. So if you're brand new in real estate, I would want that to be your goal, okay? If you're experienced in real estate, been in real estate for a number of years and you're not hitting that goal, it'll be even harder for you because you're busy doing other stuff. Maybe you have some bad habits that we have to get rid of. But I think 5 listing appointments a week cures most financial problems for most agents, but those have to be 5 listing appointments with people who have to sell. And when I say a listing appointment, I'm not talking about one of these pop-by visits deals that other coaches teach. We're not going over there until we know they have to sell. Now, where are you moving to? Sometimes the person will say, well, that's none of your business. And then I would say, you're absolutely right about that. That isn't any of my business. But I'll tell you what is my business. When? Okay? When is my business? If they say that's none of my business, then I know we're not going to do business, so it wouldn't matter. But some people have a situation that is unpleasant to talk about. Maybe they lost their job and that's embarrassing. Maybe they, have committed. I remember I had to go to a jail one time to get a listing agreement signed because the guy needed the money to cover his court costs and stuff like that. So people have embarrassing situations that they might not talk to a stranger about on the telephone, so you have to respect that. But if they say, when you find out they have a money problem, great, because nobody can fix that like a fearless agent coaching student, but they have to have some kind of problem. So it's either going to be a money problem, and you might want to write these down, money problem, health problem, relationship problem, which leads to legal problems and money problems. They always say marriage is grand, but divorce is $100,000, right? So if they've got a health problem, a distance problem, too far from work, a time problem, too far from work. So anything like that, which also equates to a money problem many times. So find the problem before you get to the when question. Then what I teach you to do is once you find the problem, sell the product, okay? Now, what is the product, okay? Most agents are hurting themselves in a listing presentation or prospecting situation because they're always selling the process, okay? Now, think of our process. We have a pretty crappy process, okay? We stick a sign in your lawn and wreck your sprinkler system. We hang a lockbox on the door so people can come at any time of the night or day to see your house. Then they come in and they make fun of your decorating skills and your cleanliness habits. We beat you down on the price. We talk you into taking offers that are less than you were hoping for. It's a crappy process, okay? So now fearless agents have a way around all that stuff. The seller ends up with way more money than they would ever get any other way. So the product is the money, okay? All sellers care about is money. Now, are there exceptions to that? Is there a seller that would say, yeah, I'll take less money just so I can do this or that or the other thing? Yeah, but that's pretty uncommon. I don't think that's going to be your problem too often. So the product, after you tell me, yeah, the house we're going to buy is bigger. Is it going to be more expensive? Yes, it's going to be more expensive. Ding, there's the money problem. I'd say, so keeping that in mind, if I have an amazing strategy, which I do, and no other agent has it, and you already know they don't, and it would 1,000% guarantee you that the buyer will grossly overpay for your house, and they'll be happy they did. And you would end up with tens of thousands of dollars more than your house is worth. We're talking about money you don't deserve. It's more than your house is worth. And I'm talking net, after all the expenses are paid, more than any other agent could ever get you. Would you want to hear how I do that, or are you allergic to money? Yes, I would want to hear how you do that, Bob. Okay, so that's the product that we sell. I haven't talked about the process. The process is going to be them doing exactly, step by step, every little tiny thing I tell them to do. I'm not interested in their input or strategy ideas. I'm in charge of that. I'm the listing agent. So now that's the product. So first we find out where they're moving to, then we go to the product. So the opposite of that you would want to avoid, obviously then, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, is what all the other agents do. And I know you know what they do. They care about fairness to the buyer. In fact, they only care about the buyer. They want the buyer to get a good deal on your house because they, like the entire real estate industry, is so buyer-focused that the sellers are going disturbingly unrewarded. And that's how you end up losing tens of thousands of your hard-earned dollars for no good reason. Would it be fair to say that's what you want to avoid? They always say yes to that. Now, they have told me that they don't want to use my competitors. So I've crushed the competitors. So first I sell them on the product, then I crush the competitors after I found the money problem. So again, if I'm able to sell your house for way more than it's worth, you end up with tens of thousands of extra dollars. When I do that, you're not going to be offended. Is that correct? No, Bob, I would not be offended. So is that what you want me to do? Yes, Bob, that's what I want you to do. So I tricked them into telling me that they want me to do it, okay? So again, just so you get that process, we asked where, then we found the problem, then I sold them on the product, which is the tens of thousands of extra dollars. By the way, that is a promise I am able to deliver on because I am a fearless agent, and that is what we do. So if you want to learn how to do that, you can become a fearless agent coaching student, and we teach it to you. Then I crush the competitors. I have them do it for me. Then I resell them on the product, and then I'm going to go to when, okay? So when is the soonest you would be willing to hold out your hand, allow me to plunk the tens of thousands of dollars into it, and that would coincide with moving day probably. And they're going to tell me whatever they tell me. So then we go to when only after we've done the where, we found the problem, we sold them on the product, crushed the competitors, resold them on the product, then we go to when. Okay, much, much different than what all the other coaches are out there teaching you. And by the way, if any of the stuff we talk about on our podcast makes sense to you and you are earning less selling real estate than you wish you were, or you're selling lots of real estate and you don't know how to have a life and you're open to the idea of having some help with that, if you'd like to learn more, you can call me anytime at 480-385-8810. That is my cell phone. And let's just see if you and what you're trying to do and what we do, if it would be even a good fit. And again, 480-385-8810. By the way, I love talking to realtors. Don't think you're bothering me. Don't email me. Don't text me. Call me. Okay. And we'll have a nice conversation. I never high pressure anybody into coaching. If it's right for you, you'll know. If it's not, we'll both know. If you can't afford coaching, but you wish you could, you can please visit fearlessagent.com, watch the free webinar, take lots of notes, go to the video training page, watch all the videos. My guarantee to you is that those free videos will be better coaching for free than you would pay any other coach in America any amount of money for. And if you ever have a question, you can always call me, because we want to help you for free so you can afford our coaching later. So we are here for you. So when is the soonest moving day would ever be is the next question. So it's where, again, find the money problem or the health problem, the time problem, the distance problem, which always translates into money problems. And even if they don't have a money problem, everybody likes money. But we're trying to find people who have to sell. So when you're scheduling 5 listing appointments a week, here's a rule of thumb. 2 of them are going to cancel before you even get to go. You're going to go on 3, and you're going to get 1. And if you're a fearless agent, you're going to get it at full commission, which rhymes with heaven, but it's not 11%. Okay? You're going to keep 4. So if you schedule 5, 2 cancel, you go on 3, and you get 1. That would be true whether you were a fearless agent or not. That would be just about anybody's ratio of success with fearless agent coaching or without. With fearless agent coaching, it's going to be a whole lot easier and to schedule the 5, and you're going to have a much higher commission. So your income would be probably 30 to 50% higher on each and every listing you take. So again, we're not going to talk about the process. We're going to talk about the product. When we get to when, what we're talking about is not thinking about it day. It's not we're thinking about meeting with Realtors day. It is moving day. So when is the soonest realistically, and I'm not trying to rush you, it doesn't matter to me, when is the soonest realistically moving day would be? You and all of your stuff that's in your house would be moved out. You'd be in that new place. Realistically, when is the soonest that day would be? And then they say, oh, it's not going to be for 8 months. Say, okay, that's fine. Let me just ask you this. If you knew for certain that by waiting 8 months, you would lose tens of thousands of dollars, would you have to wait? Well, Bob, how in the world would I lose tens of thousands of dollars by waiting 8 months to sell my house? Well, it wouldn't matter if you have to wait, would it? So do you have to wait? Yeah, we have to wait. Okay, well, when should I check back with you? Okay, so that's how it goes. So here's the model. When you're on the phone prospecting, it's where first, then when, then let's get together if they're ready now. If moving day is going to be, could be in a month or two, then we're going to get together. If it has to be longer than that, or 3, then when should I check back with you is the next question. Okay, so by the way, we're never going to answer the question why they would lose money by waiting on the phone. Okay, that will never happen. So we teach you a little thing called the listing factory. Okay, so you might want to write this down. First, you call and try to schedule an appointment if they're ready. So when they say they're ready, almost, or they're thinking of selling their house, they said yes to your question. If they said no, none of this matters. Then you're just they'll be in the big loop. They'll come around sooner or later. But the follow-up call would only happen if they said yes. So they say yes, you book an appointment. If you're unable to book the appointment, and you only book the appointment if you should, because now is the right time to meet him with. I don't want to meet with them too soon. If I'm unable to schedule the appointment, I'm going to say, when should I check back with you? Okay. If they say, call me in a year, I'm going to cut that in half and put it in my calendar to remind me to call them back. Whatever they tell me, I'm going to cut it in half, and maybe it would never be longer than 3 months. Okay. So I'm going to call them in. If they say, call me in 4 months, I'll call them in 2. If they say, call me in 8 months, I'd probably call them in 3. If they say, call me in a year, I'll call them in 3 months. Then I'm going to, remind myself in Mojo, if I'm using mojosales.com as my database or my calling program, or in my calendar, somehow I'm going to remind myself to call them. Then I'm going to send them a thank you note. Thank you for your time on the telephone. In today's business world, time is precious. You can rest assured that I will always be respectful of the time you invest as we discuss the possibility of a mutually beneficial business opportunity. Sincerely, Bob. Couple of business cards. Thank you. Okay. So now I'm going to call them back on the day that I'm supposed to. They might not remember me when I call them back. If they don't, I'm just going to redo. I'll say, I called you a while back. You said you were moving to Irvine, California. Is that true? Yep, still true. Then I'm going to say, refresh their memory on the product, crush the competitors, resell them on the product, go back to when, and, if they're ready now, meet, schedule the appointment. If not, then I'm going to do that. So if they say, they're ready now, I'd say, can I explain step by step? By the way, that is the listing factory. We're just going to rinse and repeat that, okay? By the way, if they remember me, if they say, oh, yeah, you're Bob, the real estate guy, I remember you, then I'm going to go right to the referral generating dialogue, and at the end, I'll do that. So I need to get referrals from these people if they remember me. That's what fearless agents do. So then I'm going to go to booking the appointment. So I'd say, can I explain step by step exactly how I do that? Get you way, way, way more money for your house than you can get any other way. They'd say yes every time. I'd say, okay, well, the first thing, step 1, is we're going to meet. And I like to meet with people in the afternoons or the evenings. Do you guys have 9-to-5 jobs? Yes. My wife has a 9-to-5 job. Okay. I've got 7 p.m. available this Thursday, or would next Monday be better? I think next Monday would be better. Great. I'll see you then. By the way, I got a little homework to do before I get off the phone, and then I'm going to ask them all the questions that I need to do a ballpark market analysis, reconfirm the appointment, make sure they're both going to show up when I get there, and we have a special way of doing that. So that's the secret to prospecting. So when I get there, I'm going to go. Remember, I booked the appointment with the husband, or I booked the appointment with the wife, or I booked the appointment with one of the 2 partners if there are 2 or more. So I have not met the other person. They didn't hear any of this stuff we talked about. So I'm going to go through those questions again. Where are you moving to? Could be 10 questions. When I meet with the couple, if it is a couple, which would be common, and then I have to sell them on me. So what is it that's going to sell them on me? It's the way I do those questions. So people will say, Bob, why are you asking me all these questions? I go, oh, that's easy. Because real estate is about getting rich. Because you can rent a place to live, okay? Real estate is about getting rich. So my job is to make you rich, okay? So when you sell your house and you can sell it for a big discount, the way all the other agents do it, or you could sell it for quite a bit more than it's worth and end up with tens of thousands of extra dollars that you don't even deserve, which would you prefer? And they'd say, well, we would want the tens of thousands of extra dollars. Yeah, because real estate is about getting rich. And that's why I'm asking you all these questions. So again, and then I get back on track and ask the next question. So again, selling is not telling. Selling is about asking the right questions. If you want to dramatically increase the amount of money you make as a real estate professional, you have to start asking the right questions. When you go to all the other coaches in America, you're going to get the exact wrong questions to ask. And you wouldn't even feel comfortable asking them. You would think, why, if somebody asked me that, I'd probably be offended. So it's got to be comfortable questions that make the seller know that you care about them. So you're never going to lose a listing when you're a fearless agent, because every fearless agent coaching student has the seller understanding that no agent is going to care more about them than the fearless agent will. The seller knows no agent will ever care more about their money than they do. So when the seller understands that you care more about them personally than any other agent will, and that you care more about their money, which is what they care about, more than any other agent will, then you're never going to lose a listing. It's as simple as that. They'd have to really not like your personality or something, which could happen, but that's pretty uncommon. So once again, I want to thank you for joining us today. Please do visit us at fearlessagent.com. Also, if you would, as a favor to me, review us, the podcast that is, on iTunes. Give us a good review. That's what I would like. And then you can always call me directly. If you ever have a question about real estate, whether I coach you or not, if you think I can help you, I'm always happy to. So you can call me on my cell phone at 480-385-8810. So again, please review the podcast on iTunes. You can always visit us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, fearlessagent.com, the local Starbucks. I'm everywhere you go. And until next week, just remember, as all fearless agents do, always have fun. Always be humble. But most of all, be fearless. Thanks.